Hi guys, welcome to another episode in my channel. Today let's see what happened when Trump met Zelensky in White House yesterday. After this meeting, Trump met with the European leaders also. Let's see the stark difference between what happened in February when Trump met Zelensky after he took office and what happened yesterday and what it means for the war with Ukraine. Now let's set the stage for our discussion. Why this meeting happened? This meeting is happening in the background of the war between Russia and Ukraine. This war has been raging on since 2022. So many efforts have been made to stop it. There have been a lot of sanctions on Russia. People have pressurized Russia to stop the war, but the war has not stopped. People have told Ukraine also to give in, to say that you give some land to Russia, which they are asking. They will eventually agree to a ceasefire. But Ukraine is saying we will not agree to any ceasefire until security guarantees are given. With all this happening in the background, August 15, Trump and Putin met. In that meeting, Putin won this diplomatic battle because he did not give any land. Still, he made Trump tell to the whole world that the meeting went well and they are walking towards a path of peace. He walked back to Russia as a proud man who made the country of a superpower to agree with him. In this background, Zelensky came yesterday to White House to meet Trump. It was August 18, 2025, and Zelensky reached the White House to meet Donald Trump. In his mind, just one thing: the events of February 2025 must not be repeated. Let's take a small recap. It was February 2025, Trump had just taken office, and Zelensky had come to meet Trump. We all must remember, in the election campaign, Trump had clearly said that if he had been the president, this war wouldn't have happened, and this is Biden's war. And also, if he comes into office, the war will get over in 24 hours. But the harsh geopolitical nature of this war has prevented him from stopping the war. And in February, Zelensky came to meet Trump. But everything went wrong from the moment Zelensky came in. He wore an attire which usually an head of state does not wear to meet the president of USA. It was more or less like a tracksuit. His argument was, my country is in a state of war, how will I wear a suit and come? But Trump did not take it lightly, and he also, during the meeting in front of the global media, there was a literal showdown between Zelensky, the president of America, as well as the vice president of America. Trump accused Zelensky of saying that you are the person who is going to start World War III, and Zelensky stormed out of the White House. He did not even have lunch with them. Come August 18, 2025, Zelensky was in the best attire. He wore a suit. The moment he got out of the car, Trump congratulated him on his suit only and he appreciated him. Then they went behind closed doors. The most probable thing which would have been discussed first would have been the ceasefire. What Ukraine is asking for a ceasefire, they're saying that you give us security guarantees. The NATO should give us security guarantees. The European nations should give us security guarantees. And USA must give us security guarantees that if Russia invades Ukraine after the ceasefire, then all of you should help me beat Russia. But all these countries have not agreed to this demand, and Russia is also saying that we are waging war, saying that Ukraine should not join NATO because in 2022 Putin entered into Russia saying that if you join NATO, it is like keeping a missile literally at my border pointing towards Moscow, and that is the reason why I am marching towards Ukraine. So if Ukraine tries to join with NATO, then this war will actually intensify and there will be no ceasefire. So on one hand, Russia is asking that you tell me that you will not join NATO and you give me some land, I will agree to a ceasefire. On the other hand, Ukraine is saying that unless I get security guarantees from these nations, I will not agree to it. So as long as NATO is in the radar and Ukraine wants to join NATO, this is not going to happen. The moment the meeting got over and they came out, they had a meeting with the global media. And this time the meeting went well because the memories of what happened in February 2025 is still vividly there in their minds, and they behaved very well, and they said that a path to peace is put. The ceasefire has been discussed. And we have to understand that just 3 days back, Trump had met Putin and important points were discussed, and also ceasefire was discussed with Putin. The most important thing about this meeting is when a war is going on, we have two heads of state who are at war with each other. But we have now a neutral person who has met both the person who's waging the war and also the person who's trying to prevent the war. In this way, a path to peace can be placed such that both the sides are happy, and our most immediate demand will be a ceasefire such that we can prevent more loss of life, because as we speak, every day more and more war is waging on in Ukraine and more people's lives are lost. Also, In this background, when Zelensky came to meet Trump, there was a huge explosion in Ukraine and a dozen people were killed. So, this is all a symbolic thing which is given by Putin, saying that unless you agree to a ceasefire in my terms, I will not give in, and at least you give me some land and you promise me that you don't join in NATO. Ukraine, on the other hand, is saying if I get security guarantees from USA and the European nations, I will also agree to a ceasefire, but this land thing I will not give. Now, let's see what this meeting between Trump and Zelensky means to this world. The most important thing here we need to notice is Mr. Donald Trump first was an ally to Zelensky the moment he took office. Then he became an opponent to him once the February 2025 showdown happened. In the middle, when the Pope expired, they had met in Vatican and had a brief moment of exchange, and most probably that was the time they patched up. But right now, Trump is not at the side of Zelensky. He's now shifted his gears to becoming more neutral and not just condemning Russia for the war. He is condemning both sides for the war, and he wants to play the role of the peacemaker. Like he's been saying that in the last 6 months, he's tried to stop 6 wars and he has successfully stopped. He wants to be the person who brokered the ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia. But as of now, it is not working because we could have seen that in August 15, when Putin came and he met with Trump in Alaska, though they had a very fruitful meeting, they did not have any confirmation on the ceasefire given by Putin, and that they said that they will have more talks and more rounds of talks will happen, and then we can speak about ceasefire. Also, we need to know that all the European leaders were also present after Trump met with Zelensky at 3 p.m. The other European leaders came and they all had a discussion. So here, most probably what would have been discussed was the security guarantees for Ukraine. Now let's see the three big hurdles which we'll encounter before this ceasefire is given. The first thing is Russia wants some land, at least the Donbas region. But Ukraine is clearly saying that this is a non-negotiable term. The second thing is Russia is saying is you don't go join NATO. If you join NATO, I will continue waging the war. The most possible way Ukraine is going to circumvent this is not get security guarantees from NATO, but get security guarantees from the nations. Like he can get security guarantees from the United States of America, France, Belgium, saying that if Russia breaks the ceasefire, we will come into war and we will help you to prevent Russia to enter into Ukraine again. But what will happen if Trump agrees to this security guarantee is that Putin will think that now Trump is against him. So then he will also think that the whole meeting which happened in Alaska was not fruitful and he will backtrack on everything. He has invited Trump to Moscow also. All that will go in the drain. So right now we are at a stalemate, but till now all these talks were not happening. At least now these talks are happening and we are walking towards a path of peace.